If you still have a seat next to you, please raise your hand so our standers can find a seat. Thank you. I still see hands. There are some available seats. If you are on the perimeter, please make your way to a seat. Okay, if you are standing and you cannot find a seat, we will all go upstairs to an overflow room. So let's try to find a seat, and then the rest of us will go upstairs. As soon as I get the room number, I'll let you know. I think most of us will still fit here. And we will get started in about 1.5 minutes. So if we can make our way to a seat, or we can make our way to the overflow room. Do you know that room number? I still see hands. We have 2 seats right here up front. If you see a hand, you can sit next to a hand. Okay, so we're going, if you are at the perimeter, we're going to go upstairs to the very last room. However, if you are a division soup or a cabinet member, we do have reserved seating for you right up front. Please make your way down. If you have an available seat, if you wave your hand one more time, and then I will stop speaking and I'll turn it over to everyone else who's running the program, and I will make my way to the back to help the overflow. Thank you. The overflow room is E201. Overflow room is E201, but you can just look for me.
Good morning. How is everyone? I was going to say it was so incredibly quiet. I know I'm in a room filled with educators, aren't I? Well, thank you all so much for being here today on this Saturday with HISD for our inaugural campus hiring kickoff. My name is Billy Solomon, and I'm the Executive Director of Talent Acquisition for HISD. Now, before we get started, I have a question, because I see a lot of incredible educators in the room who are thinking about opportunities for this year, and who may be getting a jump start on next year. How many of you have been in education for at least 1 year? Raise your hand. At least, keep them up. At least 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 plus years. Give yourselves a round of applause for the thousands of students that you have positively impacted for generations. And also, will you please join me in giving a huge round of applause to our Sharpstown High School floral and agricultural design students. They made all of the beautiful pieces that you see here today. And a huge round of applause to our gracious host, Principal Cotter of Sharpstown High School. Now, you might be wondering why we're calling this inaugural when we host job fairs consistently throughout the year. To properly kick off the recruiting season, we wanted to do something a little different this year because we're doing things differently here in HISD, starting with reimagined employee offerings. Today, you're going to learn about those offerings and why HISD is the most rewarding place to be for anyone who wants to thrive in their career, reach their financial goals, and make a real difference for kids. You'll learn about our new education system with much higher than average salaries, increased support, and overall better work-life harmony. You'll also get to see the NES instructional model live in action. We have a panel Q&A discussion with some of our district leaders and experienced educators. A little later, we have our job fair for current campus openings and for our early birds in the audience, 24-25 school year openings. And in a few minutes, Superintendent Mike Miles will say a few words about the important work happening here in HISD on our way to Destination 2035. Right now, I want to introduce our board secretary, Angela Lemon Flowers, representing our board of managers who work hand in hand with the HISD team and community. Angela has been an educator for 25 plus years. Her kids attended HISD schools, and now she's here to continue to amplify the values and voices of our community, advocate for our students, and help ensure that every child has access to a quality education. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the stage Miss Angela Lemon Flowers.
Good morning. I, like many of you, am a lifelong Houston resident. I'm an HISD parent, and I have had the privilege to work in Houston schools for my entire career. As an educator, a parent, and a member of the HISD school board, I cannot be more excited to see so many faces here this morning. Like many of you, I was called to teach because I know education is the most important work of our time. I knew that as an excellent teacher, I had the opportunity to give kids the skills and experiences that would allow them to access all the opportunities that the world has to offer. It's a privilege to teach and to give students the opportunity to grow their minds and their hearts, to show them that we believe in their futures and that they can and will achieve and excel. I volunteered to serve on the school board because as an HISD parent and a community member, I know HISD can and must serve all of our students well. The school board and the superintendent made a commitment to this community to give every student in HISD an excellent education, not an education, an excellent world-class education and world-class opportunities. And I'm so proud that we are already making progress on that commitment. And it's so excited to see so many new faces here today who want to be a part of this movement for our children. Every decision we make in this district focuses on putting students first. But I believe we serve students best when we hire excellent teachers, when we support and train them and compensate them like the highly skilled professionals that they are, that you are. I've supported our superintendent as he's made the decisions to increase teacher compensation to the highest in the region, to prioritize instructional support and coaching for our teachers, especially in our NES schools, and to champion excellence in our classrooms. I hope you will join Team HISD. As a board member and a parent, I am grateful for your interest. As a fellow teacher, I am absolutely rooting for each and every one of you. I'm so excited that you are here, and I hope you have a wonderful day getting to understand the vision and the values of Houston ISD and how you can become a part of a transformational education movement for our Houston children, because our children are so very worthy of your time, of your care, of your hard work, of your skill. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give Miss Angela Lemon Flowers another huge round of applause for the excellent, those words, let's listen to them again, excellent, world-class education that all students deserve. Angela, thank you. Under Superintendent Mike Miles, our charge is both clear and ambitious. We must make HISD a district that prepares every student for the workplace and world of 2035. And we know that in just a few short years, the world will be fundamentally different from the one that currently exists, requiring the diverse skill set, competencies, and ability to learn that only a strong K-12 academic foundation can provide. And as every educator in this room knows, that means we must innovate. Here to share more about his vision for the district and the important work happening in HISD, please welcome Superintendent Mike Miles to the stage.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so when I went to a job fair, I wanted to get to the interviews and the schools. So I'll be brief, but it's great to see a whole bunch of teachers here. When I got back from Moscow in 1995, my wife and I looked around and said, well, what are we going to do now? I'd been an Army officer, diplomat, et cetera. And I said at that time, 1995, and I don't know, some of you were born in the early 90s, but 1995, I said the most important work of our time at that time was educating young kids. Most important work. And turns out it's still the most important work of our time. And I learned a couple things as a teacher. I learned how hard it is to teach. But I also learned how rewarding it was to teach. And hence the dichotomy always that teachers face. It's really, really hard work, but it's the most rewarding work. And that hasn't changed. What has changed is the world. And we, at that time in 1995, our goal then, if you worked in underserved areas, was to close the achievement gap, right, and improve proficiency for students, whether it's reading, math, science, and also the other skill sets they need that you find through the electives. Well, we, our profession, have not done a good job of that. We, as a profession, I'm not talking about the HISD area, I'm not talking about Houston, I'm talking about our education profession. We have not helped kids live up to the promise of America. Our achievement gap is as large as ever. And now, a new gap is growing, a skills gap. You're going to hear more and more about the skills gap as the years go on in the next several years. The year 2035 competencies gap. Our kids also need not only reading, writing, math, and science, which is part of the achievement gap, the traditional achievement gap, they also need information literacy, problem solving, working in teams, critical thinking, learning how to learn, working with AI. Those are also skills that employers in the area and in the nation want our kids to have. So now our job, your job, is doubly hard. That's what the new education system will try to address. Not only close the achievement gap, but also close the skills gap, get our kids ready for the year 2035. And the sad truth is, it's not in the future, it's here today. Our first graders today will graduate in year 2035. So when I talk about the future, I'm actually talking about the generation of kids who are here today in our schools. So the urgency is great. The urgency is that great. And you're going to find some of that urgency not just in the new education system schools, that's what we're calling 130 schools next year in HISD, but also in our other schools, the other 130 schools that are not our specialty schools. We have 274 schools in HISD. But in all of our schools, we're improving the quality of instruction, and we are preparing kids for a different world. One thing we also have to address in our profession is how we staff our schools and how we compensate and value teachers. It's not just, I mean, the regular step and lane salary schedule has not been the right way to pay people for, I don't know, 30 years. At one time, maybe it was. But who wants to work? Well, I shouldn't say this too loudly, but I'm going to say it to this group anyway. We should not have a profession where you start at some salary, let's just say $60,000, and it takes you 15 years to get to $70,000 or $68,000. That has never made a lot of sense, you know, because your colleagues who also have bachelor's degrees in other professions are making that much more as you grow. Maybe they start at the same place, but then they quickly grow. My son, who's 32 now, and he's a project manager for a software engineering company in California. I think he's been at this company the last 5 years. His salary's grown, his base salary's grown like $25,000. And you know but that's normal. I mean, that's not crazy. That's not an extreme example. We need to do the same. So in the new education systems schools, the average salary, depending on elementary, middle, and high, the average salary is going to be about $85,000. And that's with just 1 or 2 years of experience. Yeah. So go tell your friends out there. Well, maybe you don't want to tell your friends because then they'll get your job, your position. But that's the way it should be, right? I mean, that's $85,000 is a good salary. It's not a crazy good salary, right? It's not extreme. It's what people should make. But the other part of that coin is this. It's not just about the salary. When people talk about the employee value proposition, why should I work for a place? Salary is important. No, there's no question salary is important. Yes. You want to come up here and give the rest of the speech? She said, and it's culture. It's the people around you. It's your leader, right? People make a lot of noise about the superintendent and blah, 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 but really, teachers want to work for good principal, you know? And teachers also want to work with colleagues who also will give their heart and soul to the kids in their classroom. So not only do we have to raise salaries, we're going to do that, and hopefully the whole profession will raise salaries over time. But also, we need to make sure that we work hard during the time, but then make sure people have better work-life balance, that they can get off at 4:15 and not have to do a lot. Now, there's some of you are overachievers, and no matter what we do, you're going to work till 10 o'clock anyway, like I did when I was teaching, right? My routine for 4 years. Kids go to bed. I helped my wife with the kids going to bed. Once they went to bed, 2 hours for me at the kitchen table doing my lesson planning, my resources, et cetera, for the next day. I did that for 4 years, and then on weekends too. We don't want you to have to do that. So one of the things you're going to see in the new education system schools, and we're perfecting that, we provide the curriculum, we provide the lesson plans, we provide the differentiated assignments, we provide the demonstration of learning, the lesson objective, the answer key, and the PowerPoint. Now, you have to internalize that, teacher, right? And you're also allowed to tweak it, you know, and make it yours. But in the end of the day, if you leave at 4:15, we want you to be done. Your copies are made for you. There's a copy center, copy clerk. More important, we have teacher apprentices and learning coaches that step in for you when you are absent. So in the 85 schools that are new education system schools this year, and the 130 next year, there will not be substitutes. I don't have anything against substitutes, but let's be clear, no substitute can do what you do. That's just because they're not there, right? They're not in there every day. They don't have the same rhythm. They may not know the kids and all of that. So no substitute can replace an effective teacher who's the teacher of record. So we haven't had to have substitutes. In half the district next year, we won't have substitutes either. Now, that's not to say we're ignoring the non-NAS schools. In the non-NAS schools, there's still strong instructional, good coaching. We try to make sure that you also don't have to work late. By the way, I don't want anybody to say I deceived them. There's a PLC every Thursday, Professional Learning Community. That's a meeting that starts at 4:30 or 4:15, depending on the school, and goes for an hour every week. Okay, so that's also, you know, so you're not leaving at 4:15 on the PLC days. And at the middle schools and high school, I think their schedules end at 4:30. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So 15 minutes after the end of the day, 15 minutes before the end of the beginning of the day, that's your normal duty hour. If you work for HISD, regardless of NES, non-NES, you will become the best instructional teacher you can possibly be. We will help you with that. The other side of the coin is this, because I'm very transparent, and you need to be clear about what we value, and what we value is high expectations. And that goes high expectations for kids and for adults. Okay? So that means we're going to help you with instructional strategies. We're going to help you with scaffolding. We're going to help you with engagement. We're going to help you with behavior, although we're going to assume, your principal and your APs will assume most of the burden for discipline. Quickly, I know my clock is done. They're pulling me off the stage. But real quick, in the NES schools, and as we're supporting the non-NES schools with behavior, and behavior issues are way down. You need to talk to your colleagues in those schools. Behavior issues are way down in the NES schools. Why? Number one, there's no disrespect to any adult, including teachers, ever. That's number one. Number two, kid can't disrupt the learning environment. And number three, no bullying. Pretty simple rules. And you, teacher, your classroom is sacrosanct. In other words, a child does not get to undercut these three rules. They can't disrespect you. They can't disrupt the learning environment. They can't bully in your classroom. If they do, you send them right out, and it becomes the administrator's problem, okay? So that you can spend your time teaching. All right, let me close, because I'm actually like 10 minutes over. If you want to work in a district that is transforming the education system, that will value and also raise expectations for you and kids, this is the place to be. This is the place to be. I hope I see a number of you in the classrooms next year. Thank you for coming here.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Miles. Ladies and gentlemen, please give our superintendent another huge round of applause. Now, the research is clear. Having access to high-quality, high-impact educators like you is the strongest driver of student learning and success. Our kids need excellent, mission-driven teachers now more than ever. And that's why we're here, to get good teachers into our classrooms and offer them the compensation, benefits, and support that they deserve. Employee satisfaction is crucial to our Chief Human Resources Officer, Jessica Neiman, as she knows how critical it is to fulfilling the educational mission that is student success. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the stage Chief Jessica Neiman, here to talk more about our employee offerings and what makes HISD the best place to cultivate a lifelong career in education.
Awesome. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Like everyone said, we are thrilled to see you today. We wanted to make this worth your time. How hard is it to wake up early on a Saturday morning? Don't raise your hand. It's not a real teachery thing. You're supposed to be able to get up early. But you heard already from our board manager, Ms. Flowers. You've heard from our superintendent. You saw our superintendent more than I see our superintendent. I'm his chief HR officer. So we really, really wanted to make this a valuable morning for you, really worth your time. That was all by design. So thank you for sharing your time with us. So my role is really unique in the district. As the chief HR officer, I sometimes informally call myself Mama Hen. It's my job to be sure every employee is taken care of. So I often look at other roles in our district, especially our principals, and I look with admiration. I don't know how they do it all. They're answering to constituents in the community, they're answering to parents, obviously students, their own staff, but I have the luxury as well as the great responsibility to be laser beam focused on the well-being of the employees in the district. So that's a huge honor, and it's also an enormous responsibility that I want you to understand I take extremely seriously. So we advocate zealously for our employees' needs at Houston ISD. So it's important to me that employees are taken care of not only at work, but let's talk here for a little bit about that other thing, life, that we have going on outside of work. Clearly understand life is curvy and there are personal life needs, and we want to see you through all of those chapters and seasons of your life and be sure you're well supported. We do feel that that is another unique aspect of Houston ISD beyond salary. I'll talk about salary in more depth here in a minute because I'm sure you'd like to have a deep understanding of that before you say yes to the dress. So anyway, but I wanted to let you know that it's also about your well-being. Again, Mama Hen here. Don't call me Mama if you see me out in the, that would raise some interesting conversation. But if you do see me today, please feel free to walk up to me and ask me questions, and I'd be happy to pause and talk to you a little bit. So we talk a lot about our mission to transform urban education. This is interesting. That's what we set out to do, but we've had an interesting evolution. In that process, we also discovered pretty quickly we are permanently changing the financial lives of the employees at Houston ISD. And what's even more interesting, and I'll touch on this in a moment, we're not only changing financial lives today, the here and now, the actual paycheck and the cost of your health insurance, but we're taking care of you for the future. Anybody know anything about TRS? I saw a lot of hands go up that have been our teachers. So there's this thing, light at the end of the tunnel when you get to retirement under TRS, and they have a little math formula they use, and it's 2.3% multiplied times your number of years of service multiplied times your top 5 earning years. And so what we're having an enormous impact on is that top 5 earning years. And then when you retire, that formula creates that monthly payment you get. You know, in other words, they call it that monthly pension. So if you come work for us and at least give us those 5 years, we will permanently impact your retirement. And that's a really exciting thing. I didn't want to forget to say that. Going off script here, but it's important to me. I might even say it again. If we could put the slide up, please. That's me. The slide with the compensation. One more. I really wanted to give you a visual of what we're talking about with the compensation. Let me orient you to this. So as you can see, we have the Greater Houston Region 4 average teacher compensation. That's that red dotted line. Everybody see that 60,500? We collect a lot of comparative data just like other school districts. And then we show the average, the little blue dotted line, the average teacher compensation for 5 years, if you have 5 years of experience in a district in the Houston area. And then we wanted to clearly overlay that with our salaries. So our salaries are the columns, the bars, and we have differing salary, as you can see, for elementary school, and then in the middle school, and then on the far right, the high school. So those bars represent how much higher our salaries are. On the yellow, that's if you're a brand new teacher. I know Billy had a show of hands. Who's going to be new to teaching next year? Awesome. Hey, welcome. And then 5 years or greater, that's the blue columns. So you can see on the far right, if you have 5 years or more experience at one of our high schools at an NES school, the hype, believe the hype, it's real, 88,816. That deserves a woot. Anybody have a woot? Thank you. Woot, woot, woot. Okay. So if you hadn't already heard the news, wanted to punchline that our teachers' salaries are not only the highest in the region, in Houston, in the state, they are the most competitive across the nation. So even if you have friends living in Delaware, come on down. So, and at our NES schools, I just wanted to be clear, the average salary is right around $83,000. We do have what's called a hospital model, so we have different salaries for the different classes, the different roles, the different teacher assignments in a campus. When you're out there talking to the campuses, get a good understanding of that. Have them walk you through what position is vacant and identified. Match that with the compensation scale so you truly start understanding the salary for each unique role. In addition, I wanted to take a minute to talk about our non-NES schools. Our first-year teachers at a non-NES school, maybe a non-NES school is near your house, or you know someone who works there and has rave reviews, and that's where you'd rather be. The salary is a little lower at the non-NES school. As already described, our NES schools, we are wanting to pay really highly to be matched with our schools most in need. But at our non-NES schools, the base salary starting, looking at you again over there, those first year starting teachers, $64,000. That is much higher than most districts in the Houston region. So, and then as I mentioned, not only that, if you work just 5 years, then for TRS retirement purposes, we'll lock in those high salaries, and that's locked in forever and ever. So lasting impact on your financial future and helping you reach those financial milestones. So in addition, in HISD, we support the whole teacher. I encourage you, if you're looking at other districts, do not just ask about their salary. Remember, your whole paycheck, it's also what's going to be taken out of your paycheck for that thing, health insurance. And y'all know health insurance just ticking up and up and up. So we are such a large district, we're able to competitively procure our health insurance. The bigger the pool, the cheaper the price. So please get a deep understanding of not only your salary, but ask other districts, well, how much would I pay a month for my health insurance? Because if they're not able to offer a good rate, you're going to take a lot out of your paycheck every month to cover that necessity, that health insurance. So in addition, we provide our educator with tools to handle all kinds of life circumstances. As I said, we are whole employee focused. We already talked about the health insurance. We also have robust employee assistance programs. Back to that, life is curvy. You may need some help at times in your personal life. We have mental health counseling supports. We have legal aid services. Sometimes life gets real messy and you might need some assistance from a legal professional. And so that's all on the benefit side. You've already heard a little bit inside the classroom, but just to drill down on that a little bit more, we have increased support with the addition of 2 professional roles. One is called a teacher apprentice. I actually walked in this morning and I had someone really excited to join our teacher apprentice ranks. Very competitive salaries there. We have this average of about $50,000. Maybe you're not ready to become a teacher or you don't quite yet have the qualifications to become a teacher. I really encourage you to explore our teacher apprentice and our learning coach roles that are also open. And it was beautiful, the conversation I had with the person walking in. She said she's from Houston and so just wanted to have a job with Houston ISD and give back to the very district and the very school that helped her. So it's always great to hear a story like that. So the benefit is twofold with regard to our strategic staffing. First, this hospital model that I talked about really allows teachers to do what they do best. And I know Superintendent Miles touched on that. We really want to give you the luxury to simply teach. No more handling of the discipline, no more making those photocopies, no more taking papers home to grade. This is where teachers really have the opportunity to harmonize their work life and their home life. And if you have talked to friends who are in the teaching profession, that is incredibly rare. Second, we've not only created more jobs with the added positions that I mentioned, we've also created teacher pathways for those who are interested in or are on their way to earning their teacher certification. If you're not quite there yet, we have this pathway for you. If you know somebody that is interested in teaching, please share that we have this pathway. And in addition, we are supporting all of our educators with best-in-class professional development. You're about to hear more about that here in a minute. Of course, every district offers teacher training. I assure you, you're going to hear about teacher training if you're talking to any other districts. But Houston ISD is unique, and we are going a step further for educators who are seeking opportunities to sincerely grow. If you're a teacher who wants to be a principal, I know some people raise their hand as experienced teachers, we'll help you do that. We've got principal academies, and we are here to support you on that career dream. We will walk beside you on that career aspiration. But maybe you don't want to be a principal yet, you want to lead a team. That's a great stepping stone. We have team leadership opportunities while you're in your teacher role. So we understand, wrapping up, everywhere educators champion their students, their schools, and their communities. In Houston ISD, we want to champion our educators by giving them best-in-class training, opportunities for career growth, and a salary not only that reflects your hard work, but as I mentioned, really sets you up for life. And I'd add to that, set your family up to know that you're well taken care of. We all know that when people retire in our families and they're well taken care of, that's a really important critical factor And so you're setting that up for your loved ones as well. Because we know when it comes to student learning, no one makes a bigger impact than that teacher in the classroom. So thank you again for your precious time this morning. We have a question. My MC, we have a hand going up. Yes, ma'am. Way in the middle there. Go. We have published our teacher salaries for next year, and that's a fabulous question. Our teachers who are staying at an NES campus, their incentive for next year will be a $4,000, not a $10,000. And that was an excellent question.
And ladies and gentlemen, you'll have an opportunity to submit questions during the Q&A portion of our program.
That was my cue. Thank you so much. Thank you all again. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Can we please get another round of applause for our Chief Human Resources Officer, Jessica Neiman. Now, new education system schools use a rigorous instructional program that gives students targeted support and helps them build the knowledge and skills that they need to succeed. In order for that to work, as you've heard, our teachers need to be equipped with the proper tools and training to implement these innovative teaching strategies. With more than 3 decades in education, Sandy Massey is leading that charge for HISD as the Chief Leadership and Professional Development Officer. Please welcome Chief Massey.
Hey, you guys. I'm not going to take a lot of time here, but I do want to tell you what you're going to see today that I think you won't see at any other job fair anywhere. And that is the opportunity to see what it looks like to teach in an NES classroom. Anybody here an external candidate and you have never seen an NES model classroom before? Then definitely take the time to go. Starting at 10:15, we'll have an ELA, a math, and an art of thinking class happening 3 times in a row in 45-minute increments. So the first class starts at 10:15. ELA and math are downstairs and art of thinking is upstairs. But if that interests you, you're going to want to see the model. So it's about a 20-minute presentation on what the model looks like, as far as it's like, these are the structural pieces to the model. And then you're actually going to sit as a student and experience a 20-minute lesson from a master teacher. Jessica had brought up that we do a lot of academies, and we do. We have a teacher leader academy, and so the people you're going to see teaching are from our teacher leader academy. We're super, super excited about that. Don't miss the opportunity to see the demos, because it's your chance to actually experience an NES classroom firsthand. So I know you're ready to get to your interviews. Do your interviews, and then jump into one of those classes. You actually could see all 3 if you wanted to. So that's about it for me. I just wanted to let them know about the demos. But I also want to show one little video that kind of gives you a taste of what you might see in the demos.
Starting with Ricardo, make sure your row is together.
At Isaacs Elementary, we are students first.
When I'm always walking in the room, I feel like it's like my positive space.
We're gonna do some fun stuff today, and so I hope you're ready for some fun. Yeah!
What I see in the staff and the students every single day is, well, one, smile.
Yep, that's it.
The genuine conversations that they have and connection that they have, the eye contact, the perseverance. I talked to one student yesterday and they said that, they don't give up on us.
That's what I'm talking about. Good job. Give me a high five.
My heart is so here, and I love these kids so very much. The transition from last year to this year, it has really been a great transition.
My favorite part about this year at Isaacs is that we have more classes, and we have art class, we have dyad, we have art of thinking, and a lot more classes that we didn't have before.
This middle space would be what?
I'm seeing changes in the academics, in the way that they think, in the way that they approach things. The problem-solving skills are there.
And letter A, what is letter A?
9.
I'm looking forward to NES continuing. Some of them might not know what NES is, and some of them might, but they know that the spirit is different.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give our Chief of Leadership and Professional Development, Sandy Massey, another round of applause. At this time, we're going to transition to our Q&A panel. You'll hear some music in the background while we get set up. You'll also see a QR code pop up on screen momentarily where you'll be able to submit your questions. Give us one moment and we'll get started. Can we please get around? All right, so we have a Q&A panel here today to answer all of your questions about Team HISD, about what it's like to be in the district, work in the district, about NES, all of those things. We're going to go ahead and get started. Panelists, from left to right, starting with Sasha, please share your name, your position, and what brought you to HISD, and what keeps you here.
Well, good morning. My name is Sasha Lewis. I've been in education for over 14 years. All 14 years have been spent in special education. I'm currently a special education director in the North Division, True North. If you know, you know. and what brought me to Houston Independent School District years ago was Houston Independent School District at the time was a Broad Prize winner, and I wanted to be a part of a district that was innovative. And under this new administration, it has been amazing to really dive in instruction. So I'm just happy to be here and get to know you guys and answer some questions today.
Good morning. My name is Marie Adams. I'm the principal at North Forest High School. I've been in education 20 plus years. I'm not going to go how long. And then what brought me to HISD was I was in North Texas, and my husband decided that I'm married to football. I used to be married to a football. I am married to a football coach. And and he decided that we're going to move to Houston. And I said, okay, well, let me Google, let me figure it out. And I said, oh, okay, I'm going to HISD. Let's make it happen. And so I applied, and I got into HISD, and I've been in HISD for 8 years. And I have enjoyed my experience. What makes me extremely proud is that I am in the North Division too. We stay Bulldog ready over at North Forest High School. And my students and my community were not represented. And so I wanted to step in and represent them the best they could be represented. And so that's why I'm here in HISD.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Devin Adams, no relation. This is my 10th year in education. I am currently the principal at Fleming Middle School in the Central Division. What brought me to HISD, I attended HISD schools up through middle school, and I actually attended schools in this feeder pattern, A.A. Milne Elementary down the street and Louis Welch Middle School. After graduating from college, I knew I wanted to be an educator, but my whole family said, you're too smart to be an educator, so they wanted to push me to engineering. And I did some internships with engineering, and it was very boring, you all. I couldn't wake up every day and say, I was not excited about it. So I decided to teach. I taught in Austin for 2 years, and then decided to come back home and teach at my alma mater middle school, Welch Middle School, also the middle school of Beyonce, for those of you who don't know. And since then have worked really hard to ensure that every student that I am in charge of, be it their teacher, their specialist, or dean of instruction, and their principal, is receiving a top-tier, high-quality education. And I've been able to make that happen through HISD, and it keeps me here every day because HISD has poured a lot into me, and I want to make sure that I'm pouring a lot back.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Reem Mohammed, and I am the proud principal of Dogan Elementary School in the Wheatley feeder pattern under the Central Division. We don't need to say it's the best or it's the true north. We just know that it's the center of HISD. Sorry, guys. What brought me to HISD, honestly, was, I think, faith and luck. getting a call to just, hey, come and check out. We have some specialty schools. We're looking for leaders to come and, lead some of our specialty schools. Surprisingly, I did not go to any of the specialty schools because my heart has always been at transformative schools and schools that serve students in high need. So that's what truly brought me to HISD. What keeps me in HISD is the opportunity to wake up every morning and to serve students, and that I get an opportunity to see our students reach their goals and be successful and know that they are the masters of their own future. And also, my passion is coaching and working with teachers to watch them grow, so they're my students too. And in terms, if you want to know how long I've been in education, my baby face says like maybe 3 years. But I actually like to tell everyone I have been an educator since I was 3 years old. Okay, I have been practicing those teaching skills since then. My first students were my older brother and my younger brother, and I definitely made them the best students.
Good morning. My name is John George, and I am the proud executive director of the Leadership Academies here at HISD. I serve we have what's called the Principal Academy. We have got some representatives in the room. We have the Teacher Leader Academy and the Aspiring Assistant Principal Academy. What brought me to Houston was the opportunity to develop leaders. I come from Charlotte, North Carolina, where I did 20 years there, and so I'm starting year 23 this year, well, finishing year 23 this year. What keeps me here is the innovation here. This is unlike any district that I've ever worked for, where we are really turning the key and making sure that all students are supported, not some, but all students. We're making sure that no matter what your zip code is, that you have access to high quality instruction and an instructional leader that's going to coach and develop you. And so that's my why, is to making sure that as you enter in this organization, that you have a strong principal, that you have a strong assistant principal, and that you have strong teacher leaders throughout your journey that's going to help coach you and make you better so that our kids get to experience the absolute best each and every day.
Thank you. Our second question, and we're actually going to go ahead and start back with John George and come down. What are some of HISD's greatest strengths?
Our greatest strength is high quality professional development. I would tell you it's one of our greatest strengths, is we don't just put on something and put you in professional development just because we're saying we're having PD. We want to make sure that not only you are supported in that PD, but we're going to come back and coach you on it as well. We're not going to let you fail at anything. We're going to be in your classroom consistently. And most schools, when I taught many, many years ago, I might have saw my principal or appraiser maybe twice a year. And that was it. So I didn't know what was going on in the school, and I didn't know how to improve my own capacity. But at HISD, we make sure that we're in your room every week. And we're not there as I got you, we're there as I got you. We're here to walk beside you, and we're making sure that our instructional lens is top tier so that we can also coach you to make sure that you are also top tier.
I think our greatest strength, no, I take that back. I know our greatest strength is actually the investment in people, whether it's students, growing them, providing them different opportunities to become the best version of themselves, but also investing in teachers, as by our own example at Dogan Elementary, for all of you new candidates, growing our own teachers. So we have several of our teachers that have actually been on our campus since they started out as TAs or, just serving in support positions to become teachers, to become leaders, and now serving as assistant principals and graduating soon, yay. So it's investment in people, but also investment in leaders as well. Even myself as a leader, I get to grow every day and grow my capacity as a leader and as an instructional focused coach for our teachers.
I believe that our greatest strength would have to be the implementation of the new education system, just the innovation behind it. It really puts a large focus and a large share of our jobs as principals and our assistant principals in coaching teachers and ensuring that every student in that building is receiving the best possible education, the best possible instruction that they can from that teacher. It has provided me the opportunity to make that happen. I've been a part of many of the district's turnaround efforts, so to speak, and this is a new way of imagining it. This cleared my plate of many things that got in the way of me being in the classrooms, supporting teachers, planning with teachers, working side by side with them, being in the work with them every single step of the way. And so the new education system overall and the innovation behind it and the ability for us to take that innovation and build upon it has been the greatest thing that I can consider.
I agree with everything that everyone else has said, but I'm also going to add the wraparound services that we provide our students. Those wraparound services are things that we provide that are beyond the classroom, things that are in the way or a barrier for that kid or that family being successful at school. So being able to provide them that extra pay on the utility bill or that extra food on the table so that when they come to school, they have what they need so they can be successful in the classroom. That is one of the extra strengths but we also provide that extra support to our teachers and our TAs and anybody else on our campus. If you are in need of something and you're missing something so that you cannot be productive at your job, we're going to get that something out of the way so that you can impact children in a positive way every day.
I definitely agree with everything everyone has said here today, especially from a perspective of special education. With the demolition days have been a great avenue for us to really hone in and dive in deep as to how to really implement those accommodations. And I will say, being a part of this district for about 7 years now, we finally have a seat at the table to really, really dive deep into our students with disabilities. And I'm so grateful for that, because not only is it helping our special education teachers, but it's also helping our general education teachers, because a majority of our students are in the general education setting. So the demolition days have been really, really great. I mean, I'm not going to lie, staying after work and working with those teachers late at night, really diving deep as to how do we do content language supports and what's oral administration on this slide deck has really, really, really got us to the meat of helping. And I'm happy to say that in the North Division for the Washington feeder pattern, all of our students have met their growth for the MOY. So that right there is a testament to things working. So, you know, if you're looking for a job, Booker T. Washington feeder pattern is the place to be.
I just want to repeat that all of the students have hit at their growth measures for MOY. That's major. One of our questions that has come in, we're going to start with Sasha and go on down. What advice do you have for an experienced teacher who's new to HISD?
Oh, my biggest word is to be malleable. Be malleable, like clay. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to have to move and grow, but just know that you're preparing to be the best that you can be. So as long as you're malleable and you understand that we're here to support you and be open to trying new things, you'll be okay.
I would say that it would be a growth mindset. Be able to go in with an open mind and an open lens, open eyes, open ears, so that when you are given feedback by your administrator or even by another teacher, that you are open to it and willing to pivot.
And I want to build on top of the growth mindset and add a benefit mindset on top of that, because when we are better for ourselves, it benefits the entire organization. I was speaking with a colleague, and we talked about how we have no data points, at least for those teachers in our campus, who were highly effective teachers before implementing the NES model that are now all of a sudden not effective. But we have seen the opposite of some teachers who needed a bit of more support and coaching, who have really soared and really achieved the highest quality of education and instruction. So really being open to feedback, being able to pivot quickly, providing every single thing you can to the students because they deserve it, and implementing everything that you know is a best practice and figuring out a way that we can make it work within the system and the structure.
Mine, on top of all of these qualities, I would actually say brave. Be brave to try new things. It's always an intense moment. You know, am I going to like this district as much as I liked my former district? Just being real, like, am I going to be, you know, accepted there? Or am I going to be welcomed with all of my strategies there? Yes, but you have to be brave to bring your experience and to bring your effective instructional strategies, but adding and building your toolbox and putting in all of those extra instructional strategies and extra content capacity so that you can continue to grow yourself. So just being brave and embracing the newness of a new district under a transformative leadership.
I would say for experienced teachers, we want to invest in you. And that's my whole job, is to invest in your future. And so bring your experience to the table, and we have something called the Teacher Leader Academy. So if you want to invest, see where you are in the classroom now, and we want to take you to the highest heights and the possibilities that you can be. It's a 12-week program that we have to invest in your leadership capacity, to expand your growth and development throughout our district. Because not only do we want to bring you in the door, we want to keep you till it's time for you to hit that TRS button.
Thank you. We have time for just 2 more questions that are coming in, and then we're going to release everybody to go speak with campuses. How has instruction and support changed to target closing student achievement gaps as a result of the transition to NES?
Well, I've already talked about demo day. So aside from the demo day, as well as just collaboration and the teamwork, I've got the opportunity to go in and support teachers and model. So it's really grown us as instructional leaders to not be compliance driven, but more instruction driven. And with that, being able to use a lot of our data to really have those conversations and be intentional about the supports have helped us. So I've seen us meet in less time, but be more intentional about what we're meeting about. So I've really, really appreciated this new model with the spot observations and the quick collaboration and feedback for our teachers.
I believe the model helps the teacher because we have teacher apprentices, we have learning coaches, we have our copy clerks, and they support in the instructional things that need to occur. Our teacher apprentices are there when the teacher cannot be there. They're actually a support in the classroom. So when you have to make your laps around the room, that person is there to catch that kid that might have been lost if it was only one person in the room. Our learning coaches also push in the room, but they also support outside of the room, making sure that kids are where they need to be, when they need to be there, and providing that space to help them in their work that the teacher just didn't see when that kid is pushed out. They're there to provide that support so no child is left without knowing what they need to do or how they need to do it.
So it really, I would say as a leader of an NES campus, it's even built into our master schedule. A lot of the practices that we're implementing are not completely new and just pulled from the ether. These are best practices that we have assembled into one nice package. We want to double block math and reading so that we can ensure that we're intervening with those students, but also enriching the students who understand the material well. We also want to ensure that those, with the implementation of the teacher apprentices and learning coaches, that we're cutting down on the class size ratio so that we really can get to those students who need the specific skills to achieve. With the support that we're getting from the curriculum department, with the providing the slide decks, differentiated assignments, what it helps us do is have a backwards planning model to ensure that the students can achieve along the way, achieve mastery throughout the lesson. So everything that we're implementing here are not from the ether. It really supports the work that we need to do to ensure that every student achieves.
There are definitely a lot of actually strategies that are built into the curriculum itself, from providing a high quality curriculum that includes a master schedule that has opportunities for the students, all students, to receive direct instruction from the very beginning, and then allowing those students who master that objective day by day to be able to transition, to apply the learning that they did in more rigorous activities. So that already allows those students to push forward and not be held back because we have to target at the middle. So those students that are already high performing and they're achieving the mastery level already from the beginning, from that first teach, then they get to move on and apply their learning. And then the students that are still struggling and have those deficit skills and have those gaps, they have an extra opportunity to remain back with the expert, which is you guys, the teacher in the classroom, to be able to receive more intensive, smaller setting support and direct instruction, once again, that is taught with using different strategies to be able to support them at their level, to help them close those gaps. So it makes the instruction itself already differentiated and targeted towards each of your students. And in support also, you know, those students that are high performing, they're allowed to struggle too. So they have those learning coaches in the team center to be able to ask those important probing questions to help them answer their questions that they might encounter on their assignments, their differentiated assignments. And we have this amazing team center. That's a paired team center. So we grow our students from working independently to then working in pairs. And you know that when you have students that are focused on the work, they can learn a lot from each other, right? Because you know how it is. You can say something 10 times, and then all of a sudden, a peer says it. Oh, why didn't you just say that, miss? But so it makes a difference, right? So now they get the opportunity to be in a paired team center, to work together and collaborate with each other, and to feed off of each other's experience and their own, knowledge.
And with NES, we focus on the whole child. And it's no longer my student, it's our student. And that's the thing that's just really changed. A lot of times we used to go in our classroom, close the door, and this is my group of 30. And this is mine for the year. But now this is our students. And so the doors are open. And used to be great at the end of the night. Then you find out what you did wrong. We have to fix it tomorrow. We fix it in the moment. So all throughout the day, kids are being assessed on what they got taught today. And the correction is made that day. So kids don't go home with a misconception and not say, I learned something the wrong way. We have to fix it the next day. We fix it in the moment. And when you walk into a classroom, we talk about all these positions, the teacher apprentice, the learning coach. I've walked into classrooms, there's 3 adults in there, and I can't tell who the teacher is. Why? Because they're all that high functioning. It's that high of a culture in that classroom where all the adults are seen the same. They're all teaching and they're all pushing kids to the same direction.
I'm just going to add 2 little things to that. As a teacher, you have a planning period. That's why your time is so important, that you can collaborate and get all of these things done with the people you're working with during your PLC time, and you have it every single day. So it's not something that you have to go home in 2 hours at the dinner table. It is in the master schedule for you to have that time. As long as we use that time wisely, you don't have that extra time after school.
Thank you. We have a question specifically from Ms. Sasha. What supports are offered for special education teachers? What supports are offered for special education teachers?
Of course, all the supports that are outlined in the individual education program, but with the new NES model, we have additional SPED supports. And we also offer what's called a core to SPED. So if there is a general education teacher that would like to know more about how to be a special education, a special ed teacher, we offer that initiative here in HISD. So of course, we are definitely implementing those IEPs and those additional staff members to really help with the lesson planning, the collaboration, and just additional personal care services that may be outlined in their IEP.
Thank you. And for our principals, we have some specific questions about those teacher supports, specifically the teacher apprentices, the learning coaches, even copy clerks. Can you talk a little bit more about those supports, what's available for teachers?
So for the teacher apprentices, the teacher apprentice role is to ensure that we are creating a leadership density. So one of the tenets of the district is building leadership density, that from basically a clerk all the way up to a principal and beyond, that there is a ladder that people can move and build upon to further their career. And so we want to pair our teacher apprentices with highly effective teachers on the campus to ensure that they are learning from the best. And so we pair those teacher apprentices with a high functioning teacher of record who is there to help coach, support them. They provide on-the-spot coaching to the teacher apprentices in the same expectation and the same way that we as campus leaders provide on-the-spot coaching to them. So it really is an entire system of bettering them. Those teacher apprentices are also there to help support in grading. They're also there to help support in lesson planning. They're also held exactly to the same standards. When I walk into a classroom and I do a spot observation, every adult in that room is going to receive the exact same score because every adult is responsible for the instruction that is happening within that classroom. And so everyone takes it seriously when they are there.
I actually also wanted to add one more thing about the apprentices, because that has been my absolute favorite position as part of the NES system. And the reason for that is I want you to think about the word apprentice. What comes to your mind? Sword making, perhaps, right? Like we all think about the swords that are being dipped in the fire, and there's an apprentice. I'm gonna learn how to become a great swordsman, right? Like, or a swords maker. Well, guess what? It's exactly the same thing, but our craft is educating students. And I am very proud to say that we have moved 2 of our apprentices immediately into teaching positions, not even waiting until the following year. Like one of them took it over in October, and you know she's a highly effective teacher already because she had an opportunity to learn immediately from highly effective teachers. So I just wanted to say that part because I'm so proud of my apprentices. And we're already recruiting our apprentices for teaching positions next year. So, but I still have more vacancies, anticipating, so please come on over to Dogan Elementary. But the learning coach position is actually also a really exciting position, and here is why. You get to double dip in the best part of everything. Because you get to be in the classroom, get to see students, and you get to work with students, you get to grow your content capacity, and you're also learning from highly effective teachers. But if you're the kind that like, man, I get bored like in one place all day, okay, you also get to go to the team center with students, so you work with our high-performing students, you get to support them in different content areas, reading or math, depending on your area of strength as well. And you get an opportunity to work on the exemplar work, to create, the keys, and to work with the teacher to look for like misconceptions. So you get to learn so much more than you ever anticipated. And then you get other kind of tasks that maybe are based on your interest level. So really it's a great opportunity for you to be able to transition. And if you are one of those that's just like, I like to kind of try out different things, you get to do that as a learning coach.
And the other position is the copy clerk. The copy clerk works with all of the positions. She works with the teacher. She works with the learning coach. She works with the teacher apprentice, because things change sometimes, and so you have to get her the things, and she makes the copies, or she's communicating with the learning coach like, hey, I noticed this when I was making the copies, and they're like, oh no, it's not supposed to be that. I'm going to take this one, you take this one, I take that one, I'm going to run and make these copies, and then everybody is distributing everything out, and it's not just placed on the shoulders of the teacher. Everybody is working together in this process to get that done.
Thank you. The last common question we're seeing is around curriculum. We're at the tail end before it's time to go start networking with principals. And just as a reminder, if your question didn't get asked or answered during this panel, we will be here all day. Our principals will be here, and human resources will be here to answer your question. Can you describe or elaborate on the success of the curriculum HISD is using? Is HISD using Amplify, Eureka, etc.?
So I am definitely a huge advocate of the curriculum that we have. So we do utilize Amplify. By the way, the best thing about Amplify, some of you ELA teachers, you know that you experience students that come to your class and you're like, how are we in 5th grade and we still don't know how to read, right? So we have that question too. But guess what? Our curriculum builds in the supports with an additional session or a block that's for science of reading. So we are still teaching students how to read and how to increase their fluency and comprehension, along with the reading and writing as part of the Amplify curriculum. And in terms of math, we are using Eureka, and it is still customized a little bit, of course, based on our student needs and based on the deficits of the gaps or the skill deficits that some of my students might have. But it is up to the teacher, of course, to customize and make those needs. But the Eureka curriculum really helps open up students' minds to understand concept, not just procedure of how to do the math.
At the secondary level, we also in the ELA classes use Amplify. In the math classes, we use Carnegie. And then the district, of course, takes those lessons, takes those curriculums and creates slide decks for us. And what I told my teachers at the beginning of the school year is we aren't just reading words on the slide. Like that is not instruction. I gave a metaphor, simile analogy of, Dolly Parton wrote "And I Will Always Love You." And she has her version, and it's great. But until Whitney Houston stepped out on that stage and sang that song, it hit different. So we want to make sure that we are giving the Whitney Houston for our kids, but for what they need. Because the words are nice. The words are nice. It's the same words, but you have to make sure that your students are going to receive that message. And they're going to receive Whitney. They're going to receive Nippy before they receive Dolly.
And one thing about our curriculum is it's already done for you. And so back in the day when I taught, it was teacher pay teacher. You had to Google and you had to go find. You don't have to do it. The work has been done for you. And all you have to do is go to you have a PLC every week where you and your teachers, and you have an instructional leader there, where you go through what we've given you from HISD and you make it better and cater it to the kids that are in your room. So that's the best part about it, is the time has been taken away from, that you don't have to go search for materials. It's done for you. Then it's sent to a copy center and it's copied for you. And then you have learning coaches and teacher apprentices to help grade it for you. And so really you can focus on your craft, which is teaching the kids in front of you.
Also, those slide decks that are provided, the strategies to teach them are also provided. Now, you as the teacher can customize and make it your own for your students, but those are also provided in the slide decks as well. It's not just like Devin said, you're just going to read it off. No, you actually have to internalize it and customize it for you and your learning coach and your teacher apprentice, and who's going to do what, when, and where in that room. Okay.
And I will say that with the slide decks that are provided, there are teachers that support the curriculum department that they provide feedback. So what you're getting is a product from teachers. So I don't want you guys to think, okay, it's Eureka, it's Amplified. No, we actually have great, experienced, effective teachers here in HISD that work closely with the curriculum department to help figure out what type of stimulus are we going to present, what type of strategies, and remember, we do have those MRS strategies built in, so that way the kids are constantly engaged. So just know that the curriculum is great, and the feedback is also looked at with HISD teachers.
And one more thing actually about our instruction and Amplified curriculum is the exposure for our students to things that they're not normally exposed to through the traditional curriculum. For example, like when you walk into a second grade class and they're talking about Renaissance, they're talking about Greek mythology, and they're talking about different things that you did not, like, wait, my second graders know, about Zeus and all of those different things, and what the Gilded Age is like. Those are things that our students were not exposed to previously, but are introduced to now through the different themes in Amplify curriculum. So that has been an amazing shift to grow their world knowledge as well as their vocabulary and exposure. So even if they don't get an opportunity to travel to those places, they get an opportunity to learn about them through the curriculum and through the books. And of course, art of thinking. Wow, that has been an entire new shift in helping our students think and process the thinking that they're doing and be able to actually analyze in a world where false information is becoming rampant. Like, they need the opportunity to learn how to process and determine the validity of the information that they're learning and they're hearing and they're seeing. So they get to do that through the art of thinking curriculum.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please give our panelists another huge round of applause. And thank you all for being here with us. Now, this is where you get to choose your own adventure. It is time. Attendees who are interested in the live NES instructional demonstrations, those are happening in 3 different rooms. Attendees who are interested in networking with and connecting with campuses, you'll be able to do so in the hall, and you can see those up on screen.
And come check us out at the Dogan and the Wheatley Theater Pattern.
Thank you all very much. Thank you for being here, and best of luck.